Two of the earlier Iranian military drone classes reportedly developed based on the RQ-170 and inducted into service in the Islamic Revolution Guards Corps Aerospace Division included both reconnaissance and attack platforms, the Shahed 171 and Shahed. These were for a long time the only stealth drones confirmed to have been deployed by any military outside the Western Bloc and China. As Iran expanded its military presence in Syria as a result of the power vacuum in the country and deployed assets near Israel's borders. An Iranian surveillance drone derived from the RQ-170 reportedly carried out reconnaissance operations inside Israeli airspace amid growing tensions between the two countries. This is thought to have been the Shahed platform. The Iranian news agency Tasnim reports that the IRGC has deployed its tactical unmanned aerial vehicles Shahed 171. The latter allegedly crossed unimpeded Iraqi airspace, apparently in agreement with the Iraqi authorities, flying over at least two American military bases, and then entered Syrian airspace from the Al-Tanf base, also controlled by the Americans, and successfully launched a series of missile attacks against terrorists. As for the capabilities of the Iranian Shahed 171 Simorgh, it is quite clear that American air defense systems are not even able to detect such drones, let alone hit them. The Shahed 171 Simorgh is an Iranian jet-powered flying wing reconnaissance unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, produced by Shahed Aviation Industries. It is a full-size copy of the American RQ-170 UAV captured by Iran. It is one of two Iranian flying wing UAVs based on the RQ-170, along with the Shahed, a smaller version, with which it is often confused. Former head of Mossad Danny Yatom stated regarding the incident, "It was a sophisticated operation. The UAV was almost an exact replica of the US drone that fell in their territory." If it had exploded somewhere in Israel, it may not have been possible to identify it as an Iranian-manufactured drone. The stealth drone reportedly evaded multiple attempts by Israel's US-made Patriot missile batteries to neutralize it from the ground, and the Israeli Defense Force was forced to rely on an attack helicopter to bring down the stealth drone at close range. Stealth technologies have been at the center of American efforts to improve the survivability of future generations of its military aircraft since the late 1970s, beginning with the F-117 Nighthawk radar-evading strike fighter in the 1980s and today including ambitious and much more survivable sixth-generation stealth fighters under the development. Stealth aircraft have generally come into two categories: flying wing designs intended to evade not only tracking, but even detection at all wavelengths, and standard fighter designs with radar cross-section reducing airframes such as the F-117, F-22 and F-35. Although the latter are difficult to gain weapons locks on, they can be detected relatively easily, particularly by L-band radars. Flying wing designs include the B-2 Spirit strategic bomber, its upcoming replacement the B-21 Raider, and the Chinese H-20. While stealth aircraft have been neutralized on a number of occasions, most notably two F-117s over Yugoslavia in 1999, flying wing stealth jets have only been brought down at standoff ranges once. On December 5, 2011, Iran managed not only to detect, but also bring down America's latest flying wing stealth aircraft, the Lockheed Martin RQ-170. The RQ-170 closely resembled the B-2 Spirit bomber that had entered service 10 years before it in 1997, but was more sophisticated and considerably smaller, which contributed to a much lower radar cross-section. The aircraft was designed for high-priority reconnaissance missions as a replacement to the fast, but relatively non-stealthy SR-71 Blackbird, which was retired in 1999. When entering service in 2007, it was very likely the stealthiest aircraft in the world and was intended to fly deep into enemy airspace undetected for reconnaissance. Iran has since unveiled the Shahed 181 and Shahed 191 flying wing drones capable of using precision-guided weapons, which provide an effective means to compensate for the relative weakness of the country's manned combat aircraft. Moreover, the potential remains high that technologies gained from the RQ-170, or even direct access to the drone, were given to China, North Korea or other Iranian defense partners aligned against the US. Near the end of the decade, China began to field its own flying wing stealth drones, most notable the GJ-11, which are expected to be much more capable than those in Iranian service or the original RQ-170. Access to a state-of-the-art stealth aircraft, which in 2011 no potential US adversary would field for over 5 more years, was also potentially valuable to efforts to develop effective countermeasures, with Russia and Iran having cooperated to set up radar networks capable of detecting such aircraft by the end of the decade. The US, for its part, began to rely less on the RQ-170 and introduce its successor, the RQ-180, into service. Little is known regarding the new aircraft, but having been secretly funded through the Air Force's classified budget, it is speculated to also be capable of offensive electronic warfare. The loss of the RQ-170, however, did much to bridge the gap between the US and its adversaries in both stealth and drone technologies, meaning that the RQ-180's primacy among flying wing drones today is far from certain.